What is going on, fam? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the pitch. Today is a play test of the Copa Icon, which is Adidas sort of pseudo heritage leather football boot. Very interesting product. I'm really excited to see how they perform today. Let's hop straight into it. All right, so here we go. We got the boots right here. So these, just general construction really quick. So we've got the torsion frame from the old Nemesis line. This now exists on the Copa Pure line. So the Copa Pure 1 and Copa Pure 2 both feature the sole plate. Really nice in my opinion, grips the ground really well. These kind of half moon studs do a nice job. Decent amount of rigidity through the midfoot, and it's a sole plate I think Adidas should use a little bit more. The upper is what they call premium leather. My guess is this is a calfskin leather, just treated in a way that is really nice and plush and soft. You've got quite a bit of lining here on the inside, nice suede liner as well, and a pretty thick heel area. So that's a general rundown of the boots. I am wearing a pair of my WeFoot grip socks. You can find a 20% discount code in the link down below in the description box. They are my favorite grip socks. I am wearing the thin model today. There's a little bit of turf in the shoe. But I do really enjoy wearing the thick model for games. Just gives you a little bit of extra cushion and padding. So getting my feet in the boots right away, very, very nice plush sensation. They are quite like slippers. I think that was one of the first things that I mentioned in the initial review was they look like slippers, and boy, do they feel like it. The forefoot area is very, very plush and open. Again, this is a boot that I imagine training in potentially. We'll see how we go today, but it is really thick. It's a lot thicker than what I would usually pick for my own, I guess preferences, if you will. True to size, fits perfectly right there. My toe is right on the end. These will stretch, so I do recommend going true to size so that they will stretch and mold around your foot. But look at that, already lovely. I have worn these one other time outside of the initial review, so I have done a little bit of training in them, not a ton, but I do like to get in them a little bit before the play test to gather my thoughts a little bit about what I don't know, like how you feel about a boot and how they go, but super, super comfortable. That's one thing you can't really argue with the Copa Icon, is that it fits so comfortably straight out of the box. Even though I'm not a huge fan of the way that it looks from a plush perspective, like obviously it's a clean silo, but this plushness around the ankle is just really bulbous and kind of weird. I'll show you in just a second in a different angle. Kind of weird looking, whatever, but like you can't argue with the fact that they are stupid comfortable straight out of the box. So that's one thing that is pretty sweet. And there you go. You can see, compared to a lot of other boots, not only are my feet really wide sort of in this area here, but look at look how thick that ankle area is. It just looks a little bit awkward, if I'm honest, especially because I have I don't know, a little bit bigger calves and then pretty small ankle areas. And so the boots just look absolutely massive on my feet, even though they fit perfectly. So it's just I don't know, it's kind of funny, but you can't argue with the fact that they feel absolutely unbelievably comfortable. That is one thing that the Icon does really, really well. It's super, look at how plush that is. I just put these on. Awesome, awesome. Let's get into some warm up. All right, first things first, always starting with some footwork. I'm already pretty warm. I just got done filming another play test for you guys. So that will be out probably before this one. So I'm just gonna do a couple through the gates and we'll just see how these perform, and a little bit of cutting as well. Nice. Yeah, super, super nice. Love that underfoot feel. That's one thing that I think the Copa Icon is uniquely good at, is just this really nice combination of, you have the sole plate, the torsion frame sole plate, which feels really grounded, and for an AG pitch, like pretty aggressive, to be honest. But you have this like insanely plush comfort of this I would guess it's Taurus or like, you know, cow skin leather. Just unbelievable. The juxtaposition is really interesting. And just by nature of the way that the Adidas boots exist, is that the three stripes really on any of their models kind of act as lockdown. So they sort of act like a, I don't know, like a buffer on the outside of the boots, which basically means that you get, especially in this lateral area, it's like the 3 stripes are inevitably gonna give you a little bit of extra lockdown in the lateral areas of the boot, which is pretty cool. But so far, no complaints. Sole plate's doing a really nice job of getting me into the ground, which is helpful. And then upper feels pretty good, very, very plush on feet. So if you're not looking for a really padded, kind of protected feel on the ball, I'd probably go with something else. One of the things I'm noticing straight away as well is how good the heel lockdown is, which is kind of surprising considering the Copa Pure line is really trash as far as heel lockdown goes. But I think because these are on the thicker side and they've built in just a really nice plush feeling in the heel area, it gives you such nice lockdown with or without grip socks. I just think the heel feels fantastic so far, and that's something that, you know, for a lot of the Adidas boots right now is pretty poor, to be honest. Speed Portal, or excuse me, Crazy Fast, and also the Copa Pure lines are kind of meh. Other things I'm noticing about these as well is the 3 stripes that I mentioned before on the lateral side. They're pinching a little bit, but not in a bad way. It's more of like a little bit more of a hug on the side of your foot, which is lovely. And in my opinion, does a nice job of keeping me sort of locked into and on top of the sole plate, which is something that obviously from you know, doing drills like this and cutting and doing really aggressive movements is super helpful. I will say too, the forefoot is thicker, but very similar in a lot of ways to the Morelia 2 made in Japan's, because of the way the stitching pattern happens. So if you see right here, the stitching is just stitches across the upper, and that is very, very similar to the way the Morelia 2 is, including kind of the design and how flexible it is. Feels quite a lot like that. Now, I'm not saying in any way that these are in any capacity better than the Morelia 2, but they pretty much compete with the Morelia 2, I would say, just because they are sort of definitely in the price category above, say, the Copa, why can't I think of it? The one with the tongue. You guys know what I'm talking about. Not the Icon, the bloody, okay, we're gonna think about this while I switch camera angles. I don't know why I can't think of this. Oh, the bloody Copa Gloro, because these are about double as expensive as those are. The leather is far more premium. Sole plate is obviously way above that one. And yeah, so I don't know. For me, these are definitely in a class above, and honestly, I think these might be more Copa Pure than Copa Pure, you know what I'm saying? All right, we're gonna take the chance to take them off really quick. They are feeling a little bit tight in the midfoot, but again, that's actually probably a good thing, because boots that don't feel tight in the midfoot during any point in a play test usually end up being not very good as far as lockdown goes. So as you can see right here, causing a little bit of hot spot, not pinching or like numbness or anything, just the normal freaking Noah Cavanaugh, whatever you call it, the wide ass foot in the midfoot. So overall, feeling really good in these so far. I am not usually somebody who really enjoys this like really thick plush leather feel, but I gotta admit, man, these are like, they're really comfortable, and despite the little bit of hot spot, that's gonna go away. These are an all leather upper, so they're gonna stretch. I'm not worried about that. But I'm really surprised as how much I like these. And the suede on the inside that basically just covers the entirety of the inside just creates this really kind of wrapped and soft and kind of hugging sensation around every little nook and cranny of your foot. And I gotta say, it's really refreshing. Like, I'm usually like, you know, I love the hardcore knit boots. I like the, Shadow Elite 2.0 from Under Armour. I love the GX. I love the Furon, the Tequila. Like, they're very raw and they're very like super close to the ball. But you know, I also enjoy like Morelia 2, and honestly, Copa Icon might fall into this category just because of how comfortable they are. And the fact that you can jump into these, especially in this heel area, with how plush and comfortable and just like the felt like suede material in the heel, man, absolute bangers in my opinion. So yeah, really surprised by these, honestly, and I'm really thrilled with how they're performing so far. So now that we're out of footwork, let's get into some more passing stuff. I'm gonna guess it's gonna feel a little disconnected just because they are such a thick boot. But again, passing with a thick leather boot is usually not a problem. So we'll get these back on and we will go from there. So I guess now we'll talk about kind of where this sits in the lineup. Like, I think the Copa Icon is technically supposed to be more of an Adidas heritage model. So they obviously have the Predator, which is brilliant. They have the Crazy Fast, which is fine. It's a decent speed boot, but it's not, you know, over the top. And then they've got the Copa Pure, which is one of the last sort of remaining mainline leather boots. And then, of course, you've got these, the Copa Gloro, and let's see, I'm trying to think of what else they have. I think that's pretty much it, other than, and I'm not including takedown models in this list, obviously. But so where does this stack up? This doesn't compete really with a Premier 3 because the Premier 3 is about half as expensive. Keep in mind, these ones run like $200 USD, $220. Part of that, my guess, is because it's a combination of a more modern sole plate with a fully leather upper, which is quote unquote more expensive to produce. So not really the Premier 3, not really Copa Gloro, not really New Balance 442, because as I said before, it really does fall kind of above that price category. But let's take a look at some of the things that I think this does compete with and where it stacks up. All right, so getting into some passing here as well. So, okay, so competition for me is, that's actually not bad. Pretty solid, I would say, like really nice kind of no BS connection with the ball, which feels good. Yes, a lot of that is gonna be my technique, but again, like you look at boots that this compares to, and yeah, feels really good to pass actually. Very plush. I think if I were to pick a boot that's similar to this as far as like modern sole plate, but leather, I would actually pick the 11 Pro remake that they made, which has the same sole plate as this, but the leather is thinner, even though it's basically the same type of leather. I think that's more my style, but really, really nice. So competition for this boot, Morelia 2 is up there. I think it does a little bit compare to the Yatagarasu. Not quite the Horenzo. The Horenzo's a little bit more like, a little bit more lightweight in my opinion, but the Yatagarasu and the Morelia 2, and what else? We got Mizuno in there. As far as ASICs goes, maybe DS Lite X-Fly 5. I think that's kind of the closest thing, especially the actual leather version of that one. But I would say most ASICs boots kind of fall into that, you know, like kind of half speed boot category, which these definitely don't. So I don't know. They're a little bit in a league of their own in that way. Maybe they compete with some of the smaller boot brands like Allure and, what else am I thinking about? Pantofolo d'Oro. These remind me a lot of like some of their kind of more classic, thicker leather models. Obviously those are made in Italy. Supposedly they're better quality and stuff, but I don't know, man. Like maybe they're better build quality and stuff and more premium feeling, but it's kind of hard to argue with this torsion frame sole plate. I think that's one thing that a lot of these like little tiny boot manufacturers don't do very well, is they put these like really flimsy sole plates on that are, you know, they're all conical studs. And a lot of pros that I talk to who really want to try, say, the Adler boots, okay, there's some obviously that really like the Adler boots for what they are, but a lot of those players are like, dude, I don't want the Adler boots because the sole plate isn't aggressive enough. The torsion frame on these absolutely aggressive enough for any pro player in my opinion. All right, little crossbody action, little turn. So we're gonna come up from the pink, up to the blue, turn, make a move outside the pink, and then my goal is to hit it across the goal for those of you who are looking for a little bit of a drill as well as, you know, learning about the boots. See how these perform, little cut. Yeah, so straight down the middle, but you get the idea, right? All right, here we go. Oy. Man, gotta sort my feet there, hey. All right, here we go. Boots are feeling really good. Noticing a little bit of pinching on the outside of my heel. I'll show you guys in a minute there once we finish this set. Decent. Not quite what I'm looking for, but get the idea. All right, little turn. There we go. A little bit better. All right, let me show you where this pinching happens. All right, so as I'm taking a shot, so if you see goal, right? So as I'm coming here and planting with my left foot, the outside right there, try to point to it, this right here is digging a little bit into the bottom of my ankle. So if I kind of come a little bit closer, this area right here is digging a little bit into the bottom of my ankle. That just could be the design of the boot. It also could be, I don't know, just the way that I'm planting. But I feel like every time I plant kind of more aggressively to get that whipped shot, I do feel like that material there right on the outside is kind of digging into the bottom of the outside of the lateral part of the ankle. So I don't know, let me see if that holds up on the right side, or the left side, excuse me, as well. And if it's only happening on the right side, so planting left and shooting right, that's probably a technique issue. But if I do feel it as well on planting right, shooting left on this side, it's definitely more of a boot design issue. And here we go. Yeah, didn't feel it there, but let me see if I can get it to bite a little bit. Yeah, I can definitely feel it on that other side too, so interesting. I wonder if that's a boot design thing. Huh, okay. Yeah, interesting. All right, keep going. Nice. Man, left foot is flying today. Here we go. Last one, leather. Up and over. Leather's feeling good, especially in that kind of strike zone area. Feeling really solid as I come around and planting. My only complaint, again, is that outside the ankle thing. All right, this drill will definitely highlight as I come through the cones here and as I take a touch sideways, because the angle of this shot is the way it is, the way that I plant here is really gonna highlight sort of that outside the ankle thing. And I'll explain a little bit in the outro, if it continues to persist, what I think the reason for that is and why maybe you don't need to worry about it too much, so long as you don't have feet like mine that are quite awkward and very low to the ground. And I think that's part of the reason. Ooh, same spot basically. All right, gotta get a little more wrap on it. Shooting with these actually feels really nice, I reckon. I don't mind it at all. Yes, it's a little bit disconnected, but bang, there we go. It's a little less wrap and a little more laces, but man, I'm actually enjoying playing in these quite a bit. They're super comfortable. Again, other than that little outside the ankle issue, these are doing really well, and these will definitely make like pickup, hello. Definitely make like a little bit more of a kind of a pickup or a training boot for sure. Same thing other side, this time a little 1v1 instead of the cones. See how we go. Ankle issue is there on the left side. Let's see if it persists here. Ooh, a little dipper action, baby, let's go. Very, very nice. They feel good. Striking surface feels nice. Yep, a little more dip. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like with leather boots like this, I feel like I can get such a clean striking surface because I don't really have any fear of like hitting the ground or hitting the ball super hard. And then it feels, you know, it stings or whatever. Like you don't get that because they're so padded. But yeah, I don't know, guys, like sole plate feels, sole plate feels pretty good. That would have megged the keeper. Sole plate feels pretty good. Heel still feels excellent. Good amount of lockdown. Good amount of lockdown through the midfoot and striking. Oh, look at that whip. Holy moly. Okay. All right, guys, let's get a couple free kicks, see how we go. We got 3 of them, and then we'll hop into the conclusion. All right, fam, 3 shots. Here we go. The boot doesn't make the player, but the boot definitely can feel nice shooting. Here we go. Ooh, yes. Yes, love that. All right, first one. A little bit, maybe a little bit more central than I'd like it to be, but you get the idea, right? Up and over the wall. Nice and easy. Oh, yikes. Not where I wanted it to be. All right, here we go. Last one. See how we go. Same run up every time, by the way. If you're practicing free kicks, find your run up and stick to it. Don't try and switch things around. Here we go. Yeah, nice. I reckon the first one was the best one, but that one was pretty damn good. All right, fam, that is gonna be it for the play test. Now, let me go over this ankle, this like lateral part of the ankle area. So if you notice, let me put the tongue down on this one. Okay, so if you notice right here, it's pretty high up and this material is quite solid. It's really plush this direction, but there's not a lot of give if you push straight down on it. And I think what happens is because my foot is really low and flat, my ankle actually kind of cuts into this area here. And so what happens is as I plant this way, my ankle is so kind of torqued that I need a material right here that's gonna give a little bit or be a little bit softer. The unfortunate part is that these don't provide that because they are quite a robust and solid pair of football boots. So is that a major deal? Not really. I think for most people, you're gonna be totally fine. You're gonna find these really comfy. For me, basically what that means is that any sort of awkward angle crossing, any sort of awkward angle shooting, even just regular angle shooting like we were doing over here is just a little bit painful. Like it's really annoying actually. And I imagine that over time, let's say I was, you know, doing a full-on training session and I was doing a lot of crossing reps, that is gonna get a lot of work. And I reckon I'd have some blistering or some hot spots in that area on the lateral side of the ankle. So this boot is gonna continue in my rotation as a training pickup boot, like just a casual boot. So I will continue to get lots of reps in it, more for like passing drills and stuff like that. But it probably won't make, in fact, I can guarantee it won't make game rotation. It won't make like proper high level training rotation simply just because of that issue. And that's just a me thing. If you're somebody who has kind of normal height feet and your ankle bone doesn't stick out a whole lot like mine does because my feet are pretty lean, I guess you could say. And yeah, that's kind of an awkward way to say that, but like my feet are pretty low and very lean. And so my bone just kind of sticks out quite a bit. You're gonna have a little bit of hot spot there. But for the majority of the people, I think this is gonna be a really nice option. And I think if you are looking for, I think this is gonna be my go-to answer now when people are like, I want a boot that protects my feet the most. These are absolutely that football boot. They are really plush, really thick, very, very comfortable, and they're gonna be super comfy for most people. And for me, that takes the cake, really. Now, do I probably prefer to play in a Morelia 2? Absolutely, no doubt. Do I prefer to play in an Adler Yata shoe? Absolutely. But like for what this is, really surprised, really excited, and really nice product. So nice job, Adidas. I think these are better than the regular Copa, in my opinion, the Copa Pure. I think these just are, this is actually what a Copa should be, which is plush, fun to play in, stupid comfortable straight out of the box, and kind of no BS. And that's what this provides. So in my opinion, this is what you should buy instead of the Copa Pure, in my opinion. I just think it fits better, at least for me. Better heel lockdown, better comfort overall, and a more like proper plush leather sensation, in my opinion. So that's gonna wrap it up for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed that video. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Make sure you go down in the description box below. You'll find the link to the WeFoot Grip Sock discount code, as well as the link to buy merch if you are interested in a Noah Cavanaugh sponsored by Brace kit. More info on Brace later. But yeah, that's gonna be it for the video. As always, be awesome, take care. I'll see y'all in the next video.